Look at it. It's like a South Park snowman. Welcome back to Arcade. I am Super Tommy, and in this series, a side-scrolling platformer series, in this series, we're going to add a snowman enemy character that's going to move around, just very simple, move left, move right. And then we can step on the snowman to kill them. So our cute little penguin is going to stomp on snowmans to kill them. Now in the last video, we added this health bar and these, these health pills, right? Then we animated the bar, so that's all working. Now that we have health and we can collect health, we're going to add some more enemies. So, first thing, you will need to add the snowman atlas. So we're not going to go over making this atlas again. Check out part 1 to see how we use Texture Packer to make this atlas. We're just going to actually drag and drop a pre-made here snowman atlas from Texture Packer. So you see this is our snowman. Let's get a little smaller here. So there's a 2-frame animation for moving left and moving right. So we're going to use this snowman asset to make our snowman enemy. So first thing, let's go to game. Let's collapse this. We'll have to actually load our snowman like we did our penguin here. So we're not going over making that atlas. Just check out part 1 where we did it for the penguin. It is the same steps. Load the atlas here and call this snowman. So this loading is also the same steps. So snowman.png and then assets snowman.json. Just compare against our penguin, snowman, penguin, penguin JSON, snowman JSON. So there's our atlas. So now we also want to spawn our snowman similar to this here. So we're going to go to tiled and add the snowman spawn. Let's go to tiled. So here we are. Let's go to our objects layer here. Just make another rectangle, and let's just say we're going to put our snowman right here. And we'll name it snowman like we've been doing for other things like star, penguin spawn, spikes, health. So let's save this. Remember to export after you save. Now we're going to handle it in here. So that's the name, snowman. Break. Okay, so let's just do this .matter.add.sprite. Let's just put it at XY snowman, and let's leave it there. We do want set fixed rotation since we don't want it to move. Now just see what we get when we do that. So we put this snowman over here. Ta-da! Let's push it around. So there's our snowman being made, but it doesn't do anything right now. So we're going to need to give it some intelligence. Now we're going to use a state machine for this too. So just like our player controller, we're going to make a bunch of snowman controllers. Snowmen. Each one is a snowman. So a snowman controller. Let's go to our classes here. Just same place where we have our player controller. Make a new file. Let's call it snowman controller. We're going to have a bunch of these, one controller per snowman. So export default class snowman controller. Okay. And constructor, we're going to take a sprite, we know that. So phaser.physics.matter.sprite and private sprite phaser.physics.matter.sprite. And let's just store that so we can use it later. Now we're also going to want a state machine. So now that you've learned how to use state machines for the penguin character, they're extremely useful for all kinds of character logic. Just fix this path. If you're not using our template, the tilde may not work for you, but basically a relative path to our state machine class. So now state machine, new state machine. The context will be this. Now we went over how to make the state machine in a separate video that we'll link in the description below. And for more on how we use this, you can check out a few episodes ago when we did the penguin character animations with this state machine. Now let's give this an ID, so when we console log here, you can see. So this state machine is the player, so we see when it's going from state to state. Now let's just make some states for our snowman here. So set state, let's just always start with an idle. Not set state, add state is what we want. Add state. Now we can add another state. Now we know our snowman is going to move left, and then it's going to move right over some period of time. So we're going to do a move left, add state, move right, and we know at some point snowman will have to die. So we'll do a dead state, then let's just start in the idle state. Okay, good. So let's just make an idle handler. So we're going to do idle on enter, and in our state machine here we can specify what handlers to use. So this idle on enter for each state's enter, update, and exit phases. And so here, so now we're going to go to idle. What we're going to do is randomly pick a direction to move left or right. So we can use phaser.math.between just to pick a number between 1 and 100. Let's just call this R for random number. So if R is, let's say, less than 50, we're going to go to the move left state. So this dot state machine set state move left. So our snowman will start moving left if the random number is less than 50. Otherwise, the snowman is going to move right. Okay. Alright, so there's that. And now let's add a move left and move right on enter handler. So move left on enter, a move right on enter. So what we're going to do when we move left and right is set the velocity x to minus value for left and positive value for y. And we want to count how much time has passed to know when we can switch back direction. So to do all of that, we also need an update handler. So move left on update, and update gets a delta time, so that's I think milliseconds since last frame. So now move right on update, give it a dt here, delta time, and we're going to count this time to know from start how long it's been in this state, from enter how long it's been in this state, and once it's past that time we're going to now go from left to right and from right to left. Let's come up here, I'm going to add a, just call it move time, start at 0, and then each frame, each tick, each step, we're going to do this dot move time plus equals delta time, so we add delta time to our move time. Now if this move time greater than 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds, we are going to change our state. So now we're in move left on update, so we know we want to go to move right. And now basically this will be the same here, so we just copy that for now. For here, except we're going to be moving left, since if we're already in the move right state, we want to now change to move left. And here you'll see move time is shared and it gets incremented each frame. So when we enter the move left and move right state, we want to reset move time to 0 in both cases. And of course we want to do this dot sprite dot set velocity x, let's just say -3 going left, and then +3 going right. And good, so now let's come back up to our state machine here, on enter, this dot move left on enter, and then on update, this dot move left on update. And then we're going to do the same thing for move right. So this dot move right on enter, on update, this dot move right on update. Okay, good, that looks good. So let's just see how this actually works. Let's go out to game, our game scene, where we're making our snowman, depending on where we've placed them in tiled. Let's make now a list of controllers. Since we have multiples, we can have multiple snowmen. So private snowmen. Yeah, why not? I guess it could be just call it snowman. Snowman controller, a list of them. We would set it to an empty list. So just like we talked about here and here, 4 scenes in Phaser, when they restart, when they're made, this will be called. But when they restart, they will be called here. So actually this is not a question mark. So just make sure you do all your init in init. So I just do this again here, snowmen, just like that. So that when the game scene restarts, you get a fresh empty list of snowman controllers. Now let's come over here. So let's say this dot snowman dot push new snowman controller, which takes a smatter physics sprite. So let's just call this snowman up here where we're creating our sprite. Pass that into our snowman controller, and then add that snowman controller to our snowman controllers, or the snowmen list here. And just like our player, we want to update. If you recall from the first part 1 or part 2, we need to update our controller so that we can update the state machine, which we have to do here in snowman controller. Let's add an update here. We want to take that node iterator and take a delta time, and then our state machine does an update. So our state machine needs an update just to execute each frame. That's why there's the update for each state. So this is important that we call this, and to call it we go back to the scene, and just like here, let's change this so that it's if there is a player controller, call update. Now in TypeScript you can actually make this even shorter using the I forgot the name of this operator now, but this question mark, can't recall, but basically it lets you, it does the if null check for you. So if not null, it's going to call update. And then for our snowmen, we can go through each snowman, so for each, and then we'll get one snowman each time we iterate. Then we can do snowman that update, and we pass in DT. So now our snowmen are going to be updated, or the snowman controllers will be updated every frame. Let's just make sure what we've done here. We've added our snowman. Okay, let's just see what this looks like. So this snowman should move, and it is moving. And look at that, it's moving. There's no animations yet. It'll push the penguin, you can push back. But of course, it's going to hit us when we do that for real. Okay, so now our snowman is moving. Let's add some animations to our snowman. So just like our penguin, let's just do a create, make it private. Private, scroll up, create animations. And we're going to make the animations from our atlas that we added earlier in this video. So this.sprite.anims, this is a Phaser 3.50 feature to add animations to a specific sprite versus globally for all sprites to use. Now this snowman, you probably could also make this global because there's multiple snowmen. If you check out our other video, you saw how we did it globally. We're going to just do it locally here for simplicity. So let's just do add anims.create. So let's see, we have, first is idle, of course, so key, idle, and then frame, let's do frames first. So frames, for idle, it's easy enough. Key, the key of the texture, so that's snowman, we put that in games preload. And then frame, we're just gonna pick any old frame here, it doesn't really matter. Let's look at our JSON here. There's only 4. Let's just pick this one and use it there. So now we have our idle animation, which is standing there. And now let's do create walk left. Now this is going to use the frame name generator. So generate frame names. So key is snowman. That's the texture that we're using. And then it's got a config here, which is going to take start. Going to take a start, an end, a prefix, and a suffix. So we're going to fill this out now. So just shrink this. So the start is the first frame, so that's 1. Now each animation only has 2 frames, so that's easy. So it's 1, starts at 1, ends at 2. So start 1, oops, 1, ends at 2. Now the prefix is basically this here. It's going to construct the strings, the set of strings for us. So because the snowman left 1, snowman left 2, the prefix is just snowman left with the underscores. So snowman left. Then .png is the suffix. So now we've gone this into more depth in previous videos. Do check those out from this series. So now let's just make a right, which is going to be more or less the same. The difference being the prefix here is right instead of left, and we can double check that. If we go here to right, it's basically the same as left. The only difference is this says right instead of left. So now we have this method. Now let's call it. Let's call it before we do the state machine. This dot create animations. Now we can use these animations in each state as we do move left and move right. So come up here. Let's do sprite.anim. Sorry, sprite.play. And this will be move left, and then this is sprite.play move right. And then when we're idle, let's just set it here. It's going to be idle for like 1 frame. It's idle. Okay. Oh. Ah, yes. We have to also add the frame rate. Let's just say 5, and then a repeat. So we want these to loop. The move, the walk, the move animations specifically. Idle doesn't really matter. It's 1 frame. Doesn't need to loop, doesn't really need a frame rate. Now let's see. It's still not going. Let's see what we did in error here. Snowman right, frame rate, repeat, play. Missing animation, move left, move right. Do we name it? We called it walk. Yes, let's call it move. This is why it could save you some amount of bug, or checking the console help you too, but to use enums or consts instead of string literals. So here we go. And look at it. It's like a South Park snowman. Okay. Now we got the snowman moving just back and forth very simply. Now when we hit the snowman, we want something to happen. So let's come back here. So now we've done a bunch of stuff in this series already. We've made some systems to handle collisions with spikes, and we call that obstacles. Now we're just going to consider our snowman also an obstacle, which has to be a moving obstacle. So what we're going to do here is use our obstacles controller that we called it. I think so. And we're going to add, each time we create a snowman, a new obstacle. And we're going to add it with the name snowman, and then the body is from the matter.js sprite here. It has a body, and it's a few types, but we know it is a matter.js.body type. That'll fix the TypeScript error. So we're going to add that obstacle to our obstacles controller, and then just like our spikes, go to our player controller, come down here in the set on collide. This is how we handle our spikes. We can do something very similar. So we can just check if the matter.js body that we've collided with is a snowman. And if it is a snowman, we are going to handle it differently. Now there's a couple of things that we need to check for here, because if we're jumping on top of the snowman, we want to basically kill the snowman. All of the cases we get hit by the snowman. So we can do if this.sprite. We're going to do a very simple Y check. if the player sprite is less than body.position.y, so if it is on top of the snowman, roughly, because xy is, or the origin is in the center, so it's not perfect. You can adjust these numbers for better results, or you can also use Matter.js compound bodies and put a sensor on top of the snowman, only on its head. We're not going to cover that in this series, but that is an option. We're going to just keep it simple here with a simple Y check. So this is going to be stomp on snowman. So we'll handle that briefly. This is going to be hit by snowman. So this is when the penguin should get hurt, because any other collision with the snowman with the penguin is not above the snowman is a damage to the penguin. So we're going to do state machine, and we're going to make a new state here. So just like we have spike hit, let's call this snowman hit, and we'll do it on enter. Probably snowman hit on enter. Now I'm going to have to make this on this dot. So this we need to make, and we know here we're going to call snowman hit state, and then we're going to return. Let's just come down here to spike hit on enter. So private snowman hit on enter. So that's the same method we set in the on enter phase of the snowman hit state. It's going to be similar to this here, right? Now we want to move in the direction the snowman was moving. Now to know that, we need to actually know which snowman we hit. So there's a few ways to do this. We're going to just also do this one simply. Let's just make a new variable here, private last snowman. It'll be a phaser.physics.matter.sprite. This is the last snowman that it collided with. Go here. So this dot last snowman body dot game object. Now we can be fairly certain this does exist. Now we can also, of course, use this check in the position. So either way works. So we set that when the collision happens. Then we can use it in our snowman hit state. Right? So if this dot last snowman, just to check, maybe for some reason there's no snowman. If there is, then if this dot sprite, so this is our penguin dot x, is less than this dot last snowman dot x, we're going to move to the left, because we're on the left of the snowman. So this dot sprite dot set velocity x, let's just say minus 20. Else this dot sprite dot set velocity x plus 20. So we're going to send you to the right. Else, if for some reason there's no snowman, but we think we hit a snowman, let's just send you up. Let's say up 20. Right, so at least it does something. And right after that, we will set to idle, but let's just copy this, because we're going to do something similar. Just copy that. You could refactor this and share some of this code, but for simplicity, we're just going to copy that. So we're going to do the similar thing as we did when you get hit by spikes. We change your health. We emit that health change so that the UI can update accordingly. Then we tween a blink. Now instead of blinking red, let's blink blue. We get hit by a snowman, we're going to blink blue. So this is R, G, and B. And then we do that. That should be all the same. Then we go to idle. Let's see, that should be it. Let's see if this works. Yeah, okay. All right, so that is working. So we get hit by the snowman, we lose health. Good. Now, when we jump on the snowman, this is the other case here, stomp on snowman. Let's make another state. Add state, snowman stomp, let's say. So on enter, this dot snowman stomp on enter. We're going to make this, and here we're going to go to that state, snowman stomp. Okay, now let's come down here, snowman stomp. So when we stop on the snowman, let's just send our sprite up like a bounce. So let's just go 10, so you jump on it, it's gonna spring up. And then we are going to set you back to idle. Then let it handle the next stuff from there. Now we want our snowman to actually die, so we need to know that the snowman has been stomped on. So let's use our event center. This events, we're going to emit an event. We're going to call it snowman stomped. And we're going to pass in the last snowman. So that should be the snowman that we last interacted with. Now each snowman controller will listen for this event. Just copy this. In our snowman controller here. Let's go down. This is the constructor in our snowman controller. And it needs to import the events here. So import from. So our event center, it's a shared instance as events. So if we do events.on, and this is the event, and the handler is, let's just say this dot handle stomped, and the context is this. Now we do want to make sure we call off here, so they just add a destroy that we will have to call from game, so that we make sure we clean up our events. If any snowman is left lying around when the level ends, we want to make sure we don't keep this event listener active. Now we're going to make a handle stomped function method. Let's come down here, private handle stomped. And we're going to get a snowman from this callback. So now, if this dot sprite equals or not equals to the snowman that was hit, so if the controller, the snowman that belongs to this controller is not the snowman that was hit, don't do anything. Rather, hold on. Let's go back. We are passing in, it's a matter sprite, not a snowman controller. Right. Phaser.physics.matter.sprite, right? Because our sprite is also a matter sprite. Right, if it's not the same sprite, don't do anything. If it is the same snowman, let's go to the dead state, because now we're dead. Set state, dead, and let's just animate our snowman out. So we're going to use tween here, and actually we want to make sure that if no, the cleanup can happen later. Although actually, if we come down here, there's no reason to listen to it continuously, right? We just do the off when the snowman stomped. This snowman doesn't care if any other snowman has been killed because it's already dead. Now we can do, we pass in the scene here? No. Let's pass the scene into this so that we can do a tween. So we're going to ask for scene, phaser.scene, and just like our player controller, let's add a class property here. So this dot scene. So this dot scene, right? This is broken currently because we didn't pass in the scene, but don't worry about that. Dot tweens dot add, and what we're going to do is targets this dot sprite. So the target is our snowman. Display height. Let's go to 0. This is a ghetto squish animation. Because the origin is going to be at the center, we need to adjust height, or rather y. So the y should be this dot sprite dot y plus this dot sprite dot, let's just say display height. The current display height, and it's going to go to times half. And let's give it a duration, let's say 200. Then on complete, after this tween is over, we're going to do this dot sprite dot destroy. Okay. Now let's go back to game and pass in this when we make our snowman controller, so we get rid of this error. And just like our UI scene, if you recall, we had this cleanup. So let's remember to clean up. Let's just take this and use it in our game scene, but we'll do this in init this time. It doesn't really matter where. and we're going to do this.destroy. We're going to make that method, right? So when the scene is being destroyed, we're going to call destroy, which we don't have yet. We'll make it right after create, so we'll make it destroy. And what we want to do is make sure all the snowmen, so for each snowman.destroy, just to clean up all our stray events if the scene ends. Let's come here, hit, that works. Now let's jump on this guy, boom, and he is squashed. So there we go. Now let's add a few more snowmen just to make this a little bit more interesting. We're at about 30 minutes. That is okay. This should be simple. So let's pick this guy. In fact, let's make a little thing here. Let's pick that. Let's say, just put a little platform here and some way to jump up here. Back to our objects. Selector, let's select the snowman. Let's paste the snowman up here. Let's just say right here. There's 2 snowmen. Just paste another one over here. So we'll see we have 3 snowmen. So now file export. Refresh. Let's see. Nope, it did not get the difference. Save. Let's try exporting again. Export. Nothing. Let's actually try to restart our development server. So I'm doing that on a separate screen. It's going. And it's done. Alright. Let's refresh. There it goes. Oh, this platform is too high. Let's adjust that. Let's go back to our ground layers. Remove. Put it there. Oh. Stamp. Put it there. Okay. Now let's try to export again. It's not seeing my changes to the JSON file, interestingly. I'm going to restart the dev server again. If you do have this problem, sometimes you may have to restart your dev server just to get these static assets to recognize that changes happen. Boom. Okay. There's the other snowman. Let's squash that guy. Where's the next snowman? Ta-da. Alright, so there we go. That's 3 snowmen. You can add as many snowmen as you want using this system. So we have a snowman controller for every snowman that we have. We made it here. And we add a snowman in this objects layer loop. We look through all the objects in the layer and we create each object. So like the penguin, the player, the stars, the health, and now the snowman. And so we also added this destroy to clean up our events after the snowman has been killed. We use the state machine here for the snowman too. Now the state machine is useful not only for character logic but basic AI logic. So we demonstrated that in this video. Now if you enjoyed this video, do hit that like button and subscribe for more videos of making games in Phaser 3.50. Now in the next video, we're going to show you what happens or handle what happens when the penguin runs out of health. Now that there's spikes, there's snowmen, all kinds of things to hurt the penguin. What happens when the penguin gets health all the way to 0 and dies, and do a game over screen. So come back for that video and hit subscribe and hit like.